अस्सलाम वालेकुम व्यूअर्स, वेलकम बैक ऑन माय चैनल। तो चलें आज स्टार्ट करते हैं आज का लेक्चर। टुडे एजेंडा इज SD-WAN with multiple ISPs at latest version. You can see v7.x। वैसे जो मैंने अभी इंस्टॉल किया वो 7.05 है, बट ऑलमोस्ट सेम ही है 7.x की। 7.2.0 7.0.2 भी अवेलेबल है, तो अप्रॉक्स कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है। 7.x में ऑलमोस्ट सारा जो ग्राफिकल यूजर इंटरफेस है वो सेम है। तो SD-WAN रूल क्रिएट करेंगे फॉर ईच ISP, DHCP सर्वर इनेबल करेंगे फॉर LAN, और VLANs कुछ क्रिएट करेंगे। तो चलें जी आज टोपोलॉजी देखते हैं। वी हैव 3 ISPs। Basically I have only one internet, that is this is the public reachability, and these are the 3 ISPs. So I configured 192.168.101 ISP1, 102 ISP2, and 103 is ISP3. So we have two separate LAN networks. Let me mention. You can change any color if you want. Okay, this is my VLAN 200. And this is my VLAN 220. Let me change the color for VLAN 220. This is VLAN 220. Okay guys, so I configured I configured two VLANs on this switch. Let me show. This is the switch. So VLAN, first of all, there are two VLANs, VLAN 200, VLAN 220. So run VLAN section VLAN, almost same output. Actually it's not, VLAN configuration is not in a running config, so that's why it's showing a VLAN database. So run on interfaces, you can assign, you can check what interfaces have been assigned to what interface, what VLAN. You can see VLAN port 2, port 3, and 1/0 from this switch has been assigned to VLAN 200, and 3 ports has been assigned to VLAN 220. And there is a one interface trunk. Show interface trunk. This one is the trunk interface that is corresponding to firewall. Show interface description. Yeah, and show interface status as well. You can check the status. This is my description. E0/0 connected to FortiGate connected, and VLAN is not assigned even because it's a trunk interface. And other 3 interfaces has been assigned to VLAN 200, and 3 interfaces has been assigned to VLAN 220. So this is my switching portion, and for end user, these are the basically routers what I am using in sense of end users. Show IP interface brief. Show IP route. Again, there is a default gateway. There should be a default gateway. This is the DHCP. Show run interface E0, interface E0 IP DHCP and show IP interface brief. I have received the IP from DHCP server. Let me check the PC2. No. Configure terminal, configure to as a PC2, hostname PC2 and VLAN is 200. This is inside the VLAN 200. 17107 is placed here and this is the VLAN 200. So interface is 0 IP address DHCP. Let's wait for the DHCP request. DORA process is behind. Show IP interface brief. Yes, we received the IP. Show IP interface brief. Yes, it's a 30203 ping 192.168. 200.1 is the gateway. It must be reachable. And the previous IP is 201, I think so. Let me check. It's 201. Yeah. And this one is the 203. And let's configure the third one host. It's already configured as an IP DHCP. Configure terminal interface already configured. Do show run interface E0. Yeah, and let's configure hostname PC3 VLAN 200. Okay, getting why I'm naming convention is regarding that we can memorize the this is the PC3 and this is the VLAN 200 means 17108. Okay, this also can be reached via gateway 192.168.200.1. Yes, so let's configure the third one. This is the VLAN 220. Show IP interface brief. I think DHCP is not configured. No, because interface I deleted previously in the lab. I deleted the interface. This is the old IP. It's visible. Let's check the live status at PC2 in VLAN 220. Configure terminal interface is 0 IP address DHCP and IP should not be received. Hostname PC2 VLAN 220. This time write show IP interface brief. No IP should be assigned. Show IP interface brief. Yeah, it's unassigned. It will still wait for the IP address. And the second one also. No, I am at the last one. Last node need to be configured. Then we will check why it's not receiving the IP from DHCP server. And DHCP server is configured at FortiGate. Enable configure terminal interface is 0. No shut IP address DHCP exit hostname PC3 VLAN 220 and write. Show IP interface brief. No IP will be there. Let's check what's happening on DHCP server. Uh, I have only one link, that is a physical link, port 7 connected to E00, and this is behaving like a trunk interface. From this side I configured it as a trunk and allowed VLAN all. So we have two VLANs on FortiGate. Let's verify. Interface port 7. Oh, there is a one VLAN, only 200. So that's why we are receiving the IP address from this VLAN interface, but VLAN 220 is not configured. So let's configure the VLAN 220. Just let's to check the identical name what I configured earlier. It's a LAN 200, this one. Copy. VLAN 200. This time 220. And this one also 220, and my interface, base interface, that is a trunk, and it's a port 7, and tag the VLAN. This is the identification of VLAN ID, and assign the IP address 192.168.220.1/24. 220.1 will be my gateway for end users. Let's enable ping and enable the DHCP server. This is the DHCP configuration. You can assign multiple ranges, but I'm not doing so. Let's configure the range is 220.1, 221. 220 is my subnet, and I configured the 220. I configured the 220. Okay, enable the DHCP range. We have enabled 221 onward to 254, and this is the DNS default gateway. Same, this one interface, this IP address will be the gateway of the users, and the same interface IP on FortiGate. DNS server, these DNS server will be assigned from the this portion. Global DNS that we have configured on the system global mode. These DNS will be assigned in a DHCP pool, or you can assign the same interface IP if you want, or you can assign a specific DNS interface entries by entering the specific entries. You can click add DNS server 1, primary, secondary, tertiary. So you have three options. So I'm going with system as system DNS, same as system DNS. Okay, so at this time DHCP is activated. It's a 220, and let's check the the end users are receiving the IP address or not. Yes, it has received, and this one also has been received. Let's check on FortiGate. How many clients are configured, have been assigned the IP address to the, it's not showing. Let's check the logs, forward log, events, DHCP, user events, VPN events, Sd-Wan events, system events. Where is the DHCP server? Yeah, acknowledge log, send acknowledge packet, acknowledge log, attribute configured. These are the system events. I'm checking for the monitoring, and let's check DHCP monitor, network, routing, SD-WAN, SSL, VPN, DHCP. Yes, these are the DHCP logs. Yeah, now you can see there are six end clients that have been assigned 200, 200, 200. These are the from VLAN 20 interface, VLAN 200 interface, and these three all are the I think we can also get the set the filter. Yes, now these interfaces, these end clients belongs to VLAN 200, and remove the filter, and this is from VLAN 220. This is the VLAN. I think we mistake by entering the name of interface. Anyhow, no problem. Interface port 7. Yeah, we missed 220. Let me check if we can edit VLAN 220. Yes, we can. Yeah, so DHCP is working. Let's configure the SD-WAN. Before SD-WAN configuration, we have as per our diagram, we have 3 ISPs, and obviously we have to configure 3 interfaces. These are the point-to-point IPs. Port 1 is ISP1, port 2 ISP2, port 3 ISP3. Let's configure 3 interfaces for 3 ISPs. I have configured earlier ISP1 200 201.2 202.2, and let's configure the ISP3 as 203.3. 203.2. It's a ISP3, and it's a WAN interface. It's a IP. Second IP is at firewall side, and first IP is on router side. ISP router side 192.168.203.2/2030. Let's configure check the ping and SSH as well if something required. As per your own requirement, you can uncheck the mark, and it's configured. All 3 interfaces are configured. Excuse me. Let's check the configuration at router side. ISP1 enable show IP interface brief. It's a 101. Show run interface F0/1. Yeah, it's a 101, and it's a /30 network mask. So let's ping to firewall. Ping. It's 1 is at router side and 2 is at FortiGate side. It's not pinging. Okay, it's directly connected. Ping is configured from firewall side. Let's check. Execute ping 192.168.10. What is the subnet mask? Subnet ID 101. 101.1 is the firewall. 101.firewall. Okay, that's the mistake. It's a 201. We configure 201, 202, 203, and it's router side configured 101. That's the mistake. 201, and it's 202, 202, and 203. Oh, it's a blunder. Subnet mask has been changed. 203. Actually, it's a previous lab I was configured. Going to configure with 101 subnet mask, subnet ID. Let's change. We have to change all the IP addressing. Configure terminal interface 0/1. IP address 192.168.201.1. 255.255.252. No shut and now ping to firewall. It must be reachable 192.168.201.2 is firewall. One is a router and two is firewall. Okay, there you go. Let's check ISP2. Enable configure terminal. Do show run int. Do show run interface f0/1. It's also 101. Interface f0/1. Enter IP address 192.168.20202 is the ISP2 and one is router side IP 255.255.255.252. No shit, and let's ping to firewall 192.168.202.2 is firewall. 202 is the router second ISP and 2 is the firewall side IP. Configure terminal interface f0/1. IP address 192.168.203.1 is router 255.255.255.252 is /30 subnet mask. Let's ping the firewall 192.168.203.2 is the firewall side IP. Okay, there you go. Configure. Check the connectivity on router. Internet connectivity ping 1.8.8. Unreachable. Okay. Show IP route. Yes, there is a default route, but why it is showing 108.2? Show IP route. Ping to internet. Okay, because my interface is down. I mean ISP is down. Let's enable the internet on laptop. This is the reason why it's not reaching, because my Wi-Fi is down, and on the laptop Wi-Fi can provide the internet of internet to laptop. So we need to connection up first. Let's connect to the SSID and then check. Connect. Okay, it's connected. Now it should be reachable on the internet. It must be reachable. It's not. ESP1 ping 8.8.8. Yes, it's reaching. ISP2 is also reaching internet and ISP3 as well. Yes, so we have 3 ISPs connected to internet, and let's configure the SD-WAN. Okay, for SD-WAN interface, we have to make sure that all the interfaces that you want to merge in the SD-WAN interface must having the reference 0. There is no any dependencies on these interfaces. These interfaces on blank. Just need to configure a single IP address. And nothing should be configured in any ACL, in any object. Nothing should be there. So let's configure SD-WAN member, SD-WAN zone. This is the option that was not in previous firewall. In previous version of the firewall. This is the member interfaces. We have three interfaces. Number one, ISP1, and zone is virtual WAN link that is automatically assigned to. And what is the gateway? Gateway of the ISP1 is 192.168.201 ISP1, and router side IP is 1. Priority by default, status enabled, and OK. So one interface has been assigned to virtual WAN link. This is pre-created link. So let's configure the second one, member interface. This is the zone already created. We can assign a zone. We can create a different zone as well. Let's say Eve SD-WAN zone, and interfaces, member interfaces, you can call ISP1. Okay. So now ISP1 has been removed from this interface because it's a pre-defined by default. It's configured in the firewall. So let's configure the second one, member interface. Second ISP is this one, and we will put into the Eve SD-WAN zone, and the second gateway 192.168. We are defining the gateway subnets, gateway networks here inside the member interface. Okay, ISP2 is 201.1 is the router IP, means next hop IP is, you can say. And the third ISP also we need to add in the member as a member zone, member interface, and this one is the third ISP 192.168.203.1, and we need to change the SD-WAN zone because we have created our own zone. And okay, so these are the three ISPs are configured inside the SD-WAN interface. Logical interface is also called. So these are the visualization. You can visualize the performance at bandwidth based, volume based, and session based. SD-WAN rules, performance SLA. Yes, let's configure the performance SLA. Let's reachable to google.com, and I want to HTTPS or I want to ping. Okay, let's ping, and ping IP address to 8.8. And what are the member of interfaces? Participants. It is saying all SD-WAN members inside the virtual link inside the SD-WAN, or I can specify uh, any special interface. Let's configure for 2 or 3 as well, or this is the all. These are the same things, but if you want to split any interface, you can go for the specify. And SLA targets, you can assign a different SLA targets for specific application according to the performance of the ISP link. Okay, let's wait for the output. SD-WAN rule, performance SLA. Oh, latency, there is a too high latency. Performance SLA, yeah. So this one ISP2 is very, at this time ISP2 has too much packet loss, and latency is almost same, and jitter value is this. So if you decrease this value, it will also very for very rapid applications we need to decrease this value, or if you don't want any alert here, you have to increase this value failure threshold, and jitter value and latency value and packet loss value you have to increase. So let's configure the internet policy for LAN users. Here you can see the SD-WAN interface. This is the SD-WAN zone, and 3 interfaces. So we have 2 interfaces that need to be allowed on internet. So let's configure a zone for the LAN users as well. LAN side zone, and it's a secure zone, or you can assign any name according to your organization or your office environment. And what are the member interfaces? Member interfaces are to VLANs only. So at this time we have 2 zones. One is a secure zone and one is the SD-WAN zone. Where is let me show you the SD-WAN zone, secure zone, yeah, and this one. Okay, configure the DNS server at global mode. It's already configured and its latency is very high. At latest update, earlier this is very high value. This is the unreachable showing according to the DNS. We can assign any public DNS like 8.8.4.4. It will respond a little bit faster. DNS server, that's that is another reason. It's automatically deducted from this. I think we need to disable it. Let's disable the DHCP on management port. This is the management port and port 4. DHCP should not be enabled on port 4. Let's check. It's a management and it's considered as a LAN. I'm controlling this FortiGate from this interface, so I don't want to any default route from this interface. Yes, it's prompting me to that I am currently accessing this session via this interface, so be aware. Whenever you enable the DHCP on interface, DHCP server inject a default route to the host, so that's why I removed this one. So at this time there is no automatically DNS detected from here. At this time this DNS is unreachable because excuse me, because from this I have only one ISP connected via wireless laptop interface, wireless interface, so that's why it's showing very latency view. Okay, interface has been assigned. Let's check the static route. There is no static route. We need a static route towards the SD-WAN, and this one is the SD-WAN interface route. Okay, and now you will show 3 routes, connected routes, if you check the monitoring status. Let's network and DHCP SD-WAN routing. Yeah, there are 3 default routes automatically assigned according to the due to SD-WAN, because we injected only one default route, and by monitoring route it is showing that I have 3 interfaces, and these are the static routes, that is the VLAN 200, VLAN 220, and these are the connected interfaces. Okay, let's configure. What we have done now. We have configured the interfaces for LAN side. We have configured the interfaces for WAN side. We have configured the SD-WAN, and we configured a secure zone for LAN users, and we configured the DNS servers, and then we configured a static route. So let's configure a access list, firewall policy, create a new rule, LAN to WAN or LAN to internet, INT. Incoming is the secure zone, excuse me, and outside is Sd-Wan. Source, we have two subnets. One is VLAN 200 192.168.200.0/24. Address VLAN 200, and let's configure the subnet. Okay, this is VLAN 200 and this is VLAN 220. Let's configure VLAN 220 as well. 220 VLAN 220 and change it to VLAN 220. Okay, so we have two subnets from LAN to WAN, and destination is any because they require the internet. So all service all and session all. Okay, and by sequence I like this sequence. Okay, let's check the internet status on this end client. Enable show IP interface brief ping 8.8.8. Okay, let me check the default gateway. Dhcp show IP route. There is no route, I think, injected from the Dhcp configure terminal. Let's configure the route and then check. Route IP route 0.0.0.0.000, and next hop is 192.168.200.1. Oh, 192.168. Let's check now. Show IP route. Yeah, this time it is showing a static route, default route. I hope this should work. Yes, due to default route is not injected from at this PC configure terminal. IP route 192.168.200. Oh no, 0.0.0.0 and next up is 192.168.200.1, and internet should work, and PC2 from VLAN 200 as well. Ping 8.8.8. It will work. It's a tracing basically. It must work. For the time being, let's configure the second one. Second VLAN PCs. Enable configure terminal IP route. Anything else will go to 192.168.220.1. and copy paste at same thing at second node and third as well. Enable configure terminal, right, enable configure terminal, and check the status on this one. It's not still working. Okay, wait. Show IP route, ping 8.8.8. Yes, it's working. And this one, ping 8.8.8. This is also working. All three users have an internet reachability. Ping 8.8.8. Yeah, it's a first one, and second one from VLAN 200. These are not working internet on end client. Ping 8.8.8. Only one PC is working from VLAN 200, and second and third is not working. So let's ping the gateway first. 192.168.200.1. Yeah, it's not reaching to their gateway, so that's why it's performing like this. This is the behavior. Okay, let's fix it. Show IP interface brief. They have received the same IP address. Yes. And let's check this user. Show IP interface brief. This is also has received the correct IP address. Let's check the switch side. Show interface status. User 107 and 108 are the faulty one, are not reaching to the internet, and these are the connected 0/3 and 1/0. Show MAC address dash table interface. Zero slash 3 E0/3. Yes, it's learning MAC address. VLAN 200. Configure terminal interface E0/1. Shut, no shut. And we have to I have to request for Dhcp. Still not working. Okay, configure terminal interface E0 IP address 1.1.1.255.0.0.0. I will revert back to Dhcp request. Dhcp client, shut and exit. Okay, configure terminal interface E0, no shut, IP address Dhcp, show IP interface brief. Yes, at this time we have received the IP address again, means there is a connectivity through the switch. Let's ping. At this time it must work. Yes, there you go. Basically there was a stuck situation between the firewall and the switch. and let's fix for switch to PC3 as well by configuring by generating the DHCP request again. Configure terminal interface is 0, IP address 1.1.1.255.0.0.0, shut, and back to configure DHCP server. Do show IP interface brief. Yes, IP has been assigned as a statically. Now revert it back to DHCP. IP DHCP, IP address DHCP, and no shut, and save the configuration. Basically, behind the shut and no shut, the logic is PC, and this time internet was not working on 108 PC. I configured the static IP. I shut the interface E0 and no shut, and assign the DHCP request again. It will initiate the request, and if the request has been successfully completed, it means the PC is going through the switch towards the firewall, and there is a no connectivity issue between the firewall and the NPC. So as we can see, IP has been reassigned. So now this time internet must work at this PC as well. Okay, we have tuned all the three systems. So this is the internet PCs. Internet is reachability has been verified on all PCs. So let's check the logs, and now we will configure the Sd-Wan rule for each VLAN or for specific PCs. So this is the show matching logs. If it's not, yeah, it is showing dashboard status. Now all the monitoring has been assigned on dashboard. You can click on by network, and you can check the DHCP request. Routing, current routes are visible here. SD-WAN is here. IPsec is not configured yet. So let's configure the SD-WAN. Now let me check. It's right now round robin scenario. Trace 8.8.8, trace 8.8.8, trace will let you know that from which path it is going to the internet. It is going towards the 200.1 and 203. This is the gateway firewall LAN IP. I mean this one, VLAN 200, and first hop is the VLAN SVI on the firewall users gateway, and the second next hop is 203.1 means ISP3. So my PC3 in VLAN 200 is going via via ISP3, and this one also going PC3 ISP3, and this one going to PC ISP2. So our agenda is each time my PC1 will go toward the let's configure the SD-WAN rule. For SD-WAN rule, let me explain. My agenda is I want to configure SD-WAN rule like this. If traffic is initiated from PC1, it must go to ISP1. If ISP2 and if PC2 go to internet, it must be go to ISP2, and this PC3 should go toward the ISP3. Okay, so let's configure the SD-WAN rule for per source source host and specific ISP. Go to SD-WAN network, SD-WAN, and then go to SD-WAN rule, create SD-WAN rule, PC1 V200. This is the VLAN 2 PC1 in VLAN 200, and source address is, let's configure the PC1 address, VLAN 200 PC1. Its IP address, we need to check the IP address 192.168.200.2. I have to check PC1 is this, yeah. show IP interface brief, it's a 201, so configure 201/32. This is the PC1. Okay, if the source is PC1 and destination all, it must go via manual and interface zone ISP1. Okay, at this time it must go to ISP1 only. We have idea here. Previously it is going towards the ISP2. 202 is my ISP2. So let's trace now, and PC2 is going toward ISP3. It should go toward ISP2. So let's wait for the output. For the timing, let's configure the one SD-WAN rule more. SD-WAN rule, create new. At this time, V200 and PC2, and source IP is PC2. VLAN 200 PC2. VLAN 200. There is a VLAN 200 and there is a PC2 in VLAN 200, and IP address 192.168.200.20. Let me verify. Okay, we have received the output as well. So IP interface brief, show IP interface brief, it's a 203/32. So if the source is PC2, then destination is any, and it should not follow the we have a couple of options in newer SD-WAN in FortiGate, lowest SLA, maximum SLA, but I am doing this at now at manual, and it should go out via ISP2 only. And okay, this is the SD-WAN rule 2 I configured. So this time we have done this, we have done for this, and we will remaining for PC3 should go to ISP3. Okay, verify the output first, then we will configure the PC3 traffic. Yeah, previously you can check The PC1 I mean 106 PC17106 is going toward the gateway. Its own gateway is 200.1 and the next hop is 202. 202 is ISP2. So previously it was going to ISP2 and now it is going to ISP1. 201 is ISP1. So as per we configured, it's working as we expected. And let's verify the output of PC2. Right now it's previously it is going towards ISP3. ISP3 is here. PC2 is going toward the ISP3, but I want to make this traffic direction from ISP2. Okay, let's verify. Show IP route traceroute 8.8. This output will to getting this output. For the timing we can configure the Sd-Wan rule 3. Create new. Inside VLAN 200 there is a PC3 and PC3 IP is, we have to confirm from PC3 v200 PC3 and IP address of PC3 192.168.200.PC3 IP is, this is the PC3. So IP interface brief, it's a 202/32 is a single host, and if source is a PC3 and destination is any, it should go out via ISP3. Okay, so we are receiving the hit count. And let's verify the output. Previously it is going via ISP3, and because we have configured the Sd-Wan rule as well, it is also going, it will must go to via ISP3. And this we have redirected from PC3 to ISP3 to ISP2. So it is working as we are expecting. So this time these are the Sd-Wan behavior. So we can assign the this is the let me show you. There is a Sd-Wan default rule, edit, and we can assign the session. This is the weightage. If you want to define the weightage about the ISP, you can check. This is the 83 10% weightage of this one, and 1% and 1%. So let's remove spillover. Means once ISP1 is goes to high utilized, fully utilized, then it will go towards the ISP2, then it will go to ISP3. And source destination IP volume based, you can assign the weightage and edit in CLI. You can go directly inside the Sd-Wan configuration, config system, Sd-Wan config services. Show you are right now you are inside the Sd-Wan. There are 3 Sd-Wan. These are the Sd-Wan rules basically. So we have 3 Sd-Wan rules. Edit one, name if PC1 this, and priority is this, source is this, destination is this, and these are the source. So this is the very interesting topic. So let's wind up this topic, and we will discuss WIP versus NAT. These are the two very interesting topics. WIP, why we use WIP and why we use NAT, and when we use NAT, what is the purpose of net, what is the purpose of VIP, we will discuss in next lecture. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Allah Hafiz.